A question for both of you before I forget, because every esteemed audience knows it's not middle grade ninja if I don't ask. Dorothy Winsor, Sara-Jayne Slack, have either of you ever seen a flying saucer, and do you believe in them? Dorothy, you first.
I have never seen one. I do not believe we're alone in the universe. That seems kind of self-centered to believe that, but I'm not sure I believe that there are UFOs in our skies right now. And I've not seen one.
I'll send you some literature. We'll get that turned around.
Oh, God.
Sarah, same question.
So yeah, for me, like Dorothy, I believe that, you know, we can't be the only semi-intelligent life form because that would be ridiculous. I'm a firm believer that if there are other things out there, that we are so backwards and ridiculous that they're just kind of like, nah, let's wait another millennium, see if they can grow up. Have I ever seen one? That's a really interesting question. I firmly believed the first time I went on an aeroplane when I was 7 years old that I saw something that could not be explained by having, you know, a shadow or something like that. But do I think it was a UFO? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I saw something and it was probably nothing.
Are we talking about a classic disc, or what did 7-year-old think she saw?
It was kind of like a shadow where there shouldn't have been a shadow. And you know how, you know, sometimes light reflects on glass, so you kind of move your head around and see if it moves from those angles, and it didn't, and then it just kind of accelerated and then disappeared. So who knows?
I'm convinced. Case closed. That counts. And then I think 2 more questions, and we'll call it a day. Does that sound reasonable?
Cool.
But I always want to end this while we're still having fun before it becomes a slog. So here's a question I didn't want to deny you, because this is a question I try to think of the show as if I were going to go on someone's podcast, what question would I want to be asked? And I'd want to have just a free spot. So that's what this is there a question someone hasn't asked you about your series that you would like to answer? And Dorothy, I'll start with you, and then, yeah.
Okay. This is something I've sort of touched on before in today, but I've been thinking about it because one of my neighbors asked me last week why I decided to write for this age group, she says, you know, and I thought about that, and I realized I never did decide to write for young people. I decided to write about young people. And it rather startled me the first time I realized that meant that people thought I was writing, that I intended to write for them. So I enjoy being around young people, obviously, but that wasn't how I thought of what I was doing. So I want people to stop asking me why I decided to write about young people. How about that?
I like it. You flipped the question on its head.
Yes, I did.
What's something you would prefer people stop asking you? That's great. And Sarah, either about the book or about publishing total, because I feel like there's more tea we haven't spilled. What would you like to answer?
I don't know, to be honest. I get so many different questions from so many different places. Quite often, the same questions about, you know, how did you get into publishing and that sort of thing. And I always have to disappoint people by saying I kind of accidentally fell into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there's much to in terms of a question that's not asked. I guess the thing that I would want to say to people is support indies. You know, you can go to big chain shops, or, you know, sometimes smaller bookshops as well, and you have the books that everyone's heard of, which are fantastic, and you should absolutely read most of them if you can. But also remember that there are indies out there doing great work. You know, there's some amazing folks in the UK publishing scene specifically. So, you know, Jacaranda Books, Knights of, Erie Press. I'm not going to continue because there's too many. I'm going to forget people. And normally you can buy books direct from the website as well, which is a huge thing. You don't have to go to certain places online to buy books. And especially now, one of the silver linings that has come from the current nonsense of this pandemic is that a lot of bookshops and indie presses now have websites where you can buy stuff from. So, if you can't go to a bookshop for whatever reason, then, check out online. And obviously that's a great step forward that should have happened much, much sooner, not just in terms of widening the audience, but for accessibility reasons as well, for folks who can't, get to the local library or to local bookshops, or can't get into the shop, or for whatever reason. It's important to kind of put your money where your mouth is, I guess, as well. So
I wanted to say something too about people, because I run into, this is something people do talk to me about U.S. buyers buying books from Inspired Quill or other UK publishers on their websites, because I know you ship to the U.S. for £3. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so. It's a flat fee. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, and you don't charge sales tax.
Correct.
Which is really nice because, where I live, there's quite a sales tax in Chicagoland. So, all you have to do is look at I realize that people kind of blink. Oh, and also when the ebooks come, you send them the ebooks with instructions on you send them the version they want and tell them how to use it, right? So it's possible for U.S. buyers to buy easily from the Inspired Quill site. That's a little plug.
Thank you for that, Dorothy.
Then my last question for you both is always going to be some variation of Dorothy. We'll start with you. If you could go back to the start of your career and give yourself some advice that would have made a huge difference for you, and that any authors listening now would maybe make a huge bit of difference for them, what would you go back and tell yourself?
My biggest problem is my impatience. I want some things to be right away. I'm very impatient, and so I would say, and publishing is not a good place to be if you are an impatient person. So I would say patience. It's okay. Take your time. Things will happen. It doesn't have to be right. Patience. What is it? Grasshopper, I guess, is what is the quote, isn't it?
Sure.
Patience. So I guess that would be my advice.
And then, Sarah, what for all the authors listening, what do you wish that they would do? What advice would you offer them?
Okay, in a nutshell, I think the biggest bit of advice I would give is publishing is brutal. Don't take it personally, but please, please, please read the submission guidelines.
Brilliant. I think that's the perfect place to end.